for you to be able to enjoy life, you have to be able to manage your emotions. I mean, how you feel about life is an emotional state. If you can't manage your emotions, you can't create an enjoyable life. It's as simple as that. And I'm not talking about this concept of happiness, but emotional security. So I'm going to talk about that today, and it's also a bit of a teaser for a webinar I did, and a much more extensive, in-depth webinar I did for the Brojo audience, which if you want to check that out, you can join below. So you got to understand, your life is decided entirely by your emotions. How you feel about life is a feeling. If you can't manage that, if you suppress it or overly control it or drown in it, you're going to have a shitty life. Doesn't matter what your external circumstances are, it's your emotional reaction to those circumstances that determines your quality of life. So you've got to get serious about emotions, man. You've got to get serious about emotional management. You've got to drop all that shameful bullshit that you were raised with about ignoring emotions, or pretending to be James Bond like you don't feel anything, or just giving into your emotions and being dramatic all the time. Drop all that shit and start thinking, my emotions, they're like a team that I need to manage. Because if I can manage that team well, I get to have a good life no matter what happens around me that I can't control. The main belief system that needs to change for someone to have a good emotional life is to understand that every single emotional state has a purpose, it serves a purpose, and is helpful. Until you embody that belief, you're going to have emotional shame, which is like the worst feeling to have and creates the worst behaviors that you'll ever engage in. You have to see each emotion, no matter how painful or uncomfortable or awkward it is, as serving a purpose, as being helpful, as worthy of respect. The way I like to look at it is emotions are one of two categories. They're either drivers or they're indicators. Now, drivers are the ones that give you a power to do something. Okay, they're a motivational force. Anger is a good example of a driver. It pushes us to be passionate or assertive. And others are indicators, like anxiety is an indicator of importance and risk. So some of them are kind of like the dashboard lights on your car there, and some of them are like stepping on the gas pedal or the brakes. They're a force of push and pull. So once you understand that that's what they are, then they're all helpful. They all serve a reason. They don't always come up at the right time that you want them to, but you can always make use of them. You can always play it to your advantage, as long as you don't suppress them, you don't try to control them, and you don't fall down and obey them like a slave. You got to manage them. You got to be the boss, a loving, encouraging, but firmly disciplined boss of these emotions. So you listen to them, but you don't take what they say as commands. You listen to what they have to say, you weigh up the situation, and then you try to use the state you're in to make the most of that situation. I'll give you a couple of examples. Anger. A lot of people try to suppress anger, or they just fly into an outrage tantrum. So they're either trying to control it or they drown in it. Managing anger is about pointing it towards a problem that can be solved. Anger is a powerful force. It's assertiveness, it's passion, it's courage. There are a lot of problems that force can solve, but instead of directing it at rage, at trying to destroy something, or pushing it inwards so you end up chronically depressed, take it to a problem you can solve and solve that fucking problem. Anxiety, like I said before, anxiety tells you what's important, and it also warns you about potential risks. They might be imagined risks, but until you discover what's really true, they're a risk nonetheless. So what it's telling you is that's something that could challenge you and grow you, but you're going to need to be careful because we're not sure. So it's saying move forward with a challenge and a growth opportunity, but be careful while you do it. Okay, pay attention, don't be naive. Sadness. Sadness is respect and disappointment. Sadness is the process of allowing yourself to come to grips with reality, which is different from what you expected or hoped for. If someone you love dies, that's not what you wanted, but that is reality. And sadness is the kind of the slide that takes you from the fantasy down to reality and allows you to kind of come to terms with it and move on. If you suppress sadness, you won't grieve for loss properly. But if you drown in sadness and you kind of wallow in that pity, you'll never get over anything and you'll become fragile. So sadness is about going, okay, what can I do to process this loss? How can I care for myself during the transition? And also, what expectations do I need to reset? You know, where did my expectations now no longer match reality? What do I need to bring them down to? I'm hosting an event soon, and somebody said they're not able to come, and I really hoped they would come. So now I just have to slowly repicture the event without them being there. Okay, that's what it's going to look like now. Them not being there, a different thing. So treat your emotions as helpful friends, drivers, indicators, whatever you want to view it as, rather than problems or failures or things to be ashamed of. Okay, because I promise you, every other human being out there is experiencing them, even psychopaths to some extent. It's weird that we get embarrassed about them and ashamed of them. It's like being embarrassed for having skin or being hungry. Of course you're going to have that. Anybody who shames you for having an emotion, what you do is you just reach into your pocket real deep and you just pull out one of these for them. You know, maybe two of them. Maybe two. And just let them know that they can kindly go fuck themselves while you focus on being a healthy, well-expressed human being. So for those of you who enjoyed that and want to go much deeper into it and how to create emotional acceptance and use your emotions properly, join up to Brojo. Silver membership is just $19 a month. You can quit any time, and that'll give you access to the webinar, plus all our other courses and members-only content for building confidence and connections. Thank you so much. Share this around if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel, and I will see you all next time.